Back on the On Waivers Podcast, Dwayne Douglas here along with James Amato. So the Red Sox, kind of crying broke a little bit, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, listen, sometimes big money teams gotta shave payroll. They're trying to get younger, trying to do all these things. I'm not sure why, they would trade Benintendi. I'm not sure what that was really about. What are your thoughts about the Red Sox? They look like they're going to be, maybe if they get to 500, they'll be lucky. The way the pitching staff is, because it's really not a very good one at all.
Yeah, it's not going to be a fun year in Boston this year at Fenway, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of tickets available if you can get into the stadium, even at 25% capacity. I think there'll be seats available. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 3 years removed from a world championship, and that entire outfield that was on the field for the last out is gone. No longer there, and it's just interesting. It started with the Mookie trade last year, and David Price was thrown in just to get him off the payroll, and then just the whole breakup. And they brought some players in, but not the caliber that they let go. So, let's see what they have planned in Boston. But it's not going to be a fun year for them. And if I haven't seen the schedule yet, so I don't know if we're having the unbalanced schedule like we had last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, as much as you don't want to see 20 Yankee Red Sox games every year, this is definitely 20 Yankee Red Sox games you don't want to see this year.
No, I mean it doesn't look good. I mean it's really they don't look like a team that can, they picked up Marwan Gonzalez, they picked up some players there. Enrique Hernandez probably gave him a contract that the Dodgers would not have given him to stay with them.
Probably not many teams would have given Kiki.
Yeah, Kiki wouldn't have got that. So they're just trying to be serviceable until they can win again. Listen, you can't have a pitching staff where Eduardo Rodriguez is your number one. He's a 4-starter on a real good team. I can't think of. I mean, Nathan Eovaldi is another one. They just really don't have. I mean, it's kind of weird because this could be one of the worst Red Sox teams we've seen in a long time. And I think that they probably, why not try to offload JD Martinez while you're at it? I mean, why if you're gonna step halfway in the pool, go all the way in as far as rebuilding, James.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of mixed. I mean, they have to show something that they're bringing in players, but it's they're a far way off from being in any kind of contention. Expanded playoffs or not.
Over under, you're looking at like what? What are we looking at? 75 at the high.
72.
72. Oof. Yeah,
And that's being. I would take the over on that because I don't think the Rays of Baltimore are going to be very good this year. I think they have more talent than but everyone has more talent than the Rays every year. It seems like. And we know what they do, so I don't want to count them out. Let's go to 75.
Yeah. I think it'll definitely be under 500. I don't see how Boston does it. I did see an interview with Alex Cora.
Sorry, I just need to apologize. My phone is blowing up because apparently HBO accidentally released the Justice League movie today. Like within the last 10 minutes, and people are like, "Are you watching this?" So.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Did they take it back down?
I don't know. Let me just see what this last text says.
This is big news here.
Oh, they took it down as it was streaming. So
okay, yeah. Couldn't get that one. All right, that's funny.
Gotta follow up WandaVision, make some news somewhere, get them out of the news.
Dude, it's never. I mean, we've talked about DC for years. I'm not sure what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, so Matt Barnes is going to be the closer. I mean, the bullpen is going to be used very, very frequently. If there are Red Sox farm hands coming up, I mean, you're going to see them because this is the time to do it. Maybe they can get something for a contender who wants to, have JD Martinez as for maybe a spot start at first base and also be a DH for him, but the Red Sox are not going to be very good. There's no question about it.
What's left on his contract, JD? How many years?
Oh, he got years on that bad boy. Hold
Yeah,
on,
I don't see him going anywhere.
because he just
Oh,
got
that's right. Because he pulled that option last year. He had the player's option last year that he pulled,
JD Martinez,
which was smart of him.
Yeah, in a COVID year, it makes all the sense in the world. Yeah, he's not out of. Well, it's not. Wow, it's not too bad. He only has 1 year left after this. He shows the 2022. He's done. So 2022.
Okay.
So it's not terrible. I mean that went by quick. I remember when he signed in 2018, and that went by quick. So it's not terrible. Yeah. It's not terrible. They'll be out. I mean, they could let it ride and just take that production, or they can just try to maybe try to trade them and get that 1 more year. Get some prospects. If you're gonna trade him, you gotta trade him now because then you get some different prospects. But he's always been a guy who is been a lifelong Red Sox fan who wants to stay there. So we'll have to see if he wants to stay there. He was there when the good times. Now see if he wants to stay towards the bad times as well, James. The probably most exciting team and the most enjoyable team that we want to watch is going to be the Blue Jays, right? The Blue Jays have all these young players. Basically, everybody that we watched growing up, their sons are playing on this team. Kevin Biggio,
yeah.
Bo Bichette is on this squad. Vladimir Guerrero, who's a fun player as well to watch. And then they made a really nice veteran move and picking up George Springer. Now George Springer has to leave that legacy in Houston away. Like that, you got to wash that away now. You can't that whole stigma of, hey, we're gonna buzz you when we know what's coming. So can you do it? Not can you do it? But he's gonna see fastballs in this lineup. I mean, just Marcus Semien is on this team as well. I mean, this team is pretty loaded. Gurriel is playing left field, so they have pieces there as far as that goes. I like Ryu as a number one starter. I didn't think he was a number one starter, James, but he seemed like he pitched very well. And then this is a reclamation project, but Steven Matz is a reclamation project. If they could ever get anything out of Steven Matz, then this will really kind of round out what Robbie Ray, Tanner Roark can bring to this team. And then I think they could have did better at closer in my mind. I'm not in love with Kirby Yates. I watched Kirby Yates for years out here in San Diego try to close games for the Padres. I think the Padres going on from him says a lot. I'm not a big fan of Kirby Yates, but we'll see what happens there. What are your thoughts about the Blue Jays going forward here?
Yeah, I like the Blue Jays a lot this year. Just the talent they have there. They're the fun team to watch. They made the right move getting Springer. The 6 years, they gave him the extra year that he wanted, that I guess the Mets weren't willing to go to. So the contract ends when he's 38. Not a lot of money there. I mean, a lot of money, but not anything over the top. So I like what they're doing. And like you said, Steven Matz could be the difference maker, with anything they do. You got to give the Yankees the advantage at number one starter, but the rest of the pitching matches up with the Yankees right there.
Yeah, and you got lefties. You got lefties against in Yankee Stadium. You need to get some lefty hitters out. The Yankees seem to be. It's pretty odd because the Yankees we'll get to the Yankees in a second. They are really a lot. They're very right-handed. I mean, they really are. I mean, their whole lineup is almost right-handed. So we'll talk about that in a second. But the Blue Jays should be good. I'm not sure. I think, will they? I think the question we have about them, we know they're young. We know they just spent money on Ryu. We know the back-to-back years on Ryu and on Springer. are they going to take that extra step if they need to get, a guy to take him over the top to make the playoffs? I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that I worry about. Are they actually going to do that? Do you think that they are in that position where if they're in it late, are they really going to take that next step and make that trade that prospect to go over the top?
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have to. I think they need to come back. I mean, we've seen the it's been what 20 years since Tampa won the Super Bowl, and they came back and took it this year, bringing in some veterans with an already solid base that was there. Um, and it's been, geez, it's been almost 30 years since the Blue Jays last won the World Series. So yeah, I would I think they want to get over that top, and they want to really be a team and win the East. And it wouldn't be that bad to see the Yankees not finish first again, because the newspapers in New York and New York radio is just better when the Yankees do fall a little flat on their face, just much more enjoyable. But yeah, I think they would put themselves in a position where down the stretch, go grab someone who they may need, and you just got to start looking through the rosters of teams who have that player. It's interesting. Baltimore brought in Matt Harvey. If they get anything out of Harvey, what do you do with him down the stretch? I don't think he's a difference maker in the division at all. But if they
Used to
get
be.
anything out of Harvey, used to be, but
Used to be, yeah.
if some kind of flash of the pan in there, or he's learned to pitch as opposed to throw, that could be the difference for him too. But yeah, I like Toronto a lot. I would not be shocked if they win this division.
I'm going on to the Yankees now, James. Is it? I mean, are they are they gonna ever put John Carlos Stanton in the outfield? Is he destined to be a DH the rest of his entire career?
I mean, where you going to put him in the outfield? I look. I'm a John Carlos Stanton fan. You know that. I rooted for him when he was in Miami. I thought he was an incredible player. I saw him play live in Miami. Just a beast of a player. Just a presence at the plate. I just think the Yankees made a mistake trading for him.
Yeah, I don't think
And I
they
think he
didn't
jumped
even.
the gun. I think he kind of forced his hand there. There was so many better options for him, whether it was the Dodgers, whether it was the Giants, whether it was St. Louis. I just think those were better fits for him. The Yankees just weren't a good fit, and especially with Brian Cashman still being there at the time, and after everything he went through with A-Rod and taking on that big contract. Yeah, there's just not a spot for him in the outfield, and they re-signed Gardner. They brought in, what's his name? I can't think of the outfielder they brought in, who's having a pretty good spring right now. Jay Bruce,
Yeah,
so and then
because they were
you
so
have
right-handed.
Judge.
They were so right-handed. They needed somebody who
Yeah.
on the left side. We talk about the short porch at Yankee Stadium, and Sanchez is a right-handed hitter. Luke Voigt, LeMahieu, Torres, Gio Urshela, Clint Frazier. Brent Gardner comes in with a left-handed bat. Hicks comes in with a left-handed bat, and then you got Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, those guys don't play a lot. I mean, listen, let's just be. They don't play a lot of games. I mean, so like
No,
they
and,
it's
and,
just,
and you're
so
and you're
they got
almost
to
and you're
find a
almost
way.
forced. You're forced to have Sanchez catch, even though he's probably not a catcher, and this MVP talk that's coming out, like you
From
can't
who? By who?
about Sanchez. It
Oh,
was in
here
the
we go.
Post today article
Here we
about,
go.
MVP talk around him, like he's an enigma, and he could be the MVP or the worst player in the league. I tend to think somewhere in the middle. I just don't think his defense is there as a catcher. We don't see really, with all the offense they have, do they, could they go better with a defensive catcher? Probably. But yeah, it's going to be just as interesting here. Like they basically have 3 DHs there.
Yeah.
And Judge is going to be coming up. Like, what do you do with Judge? Where do you let Judge walk because you're locked in with Giancarlo Stanton? Because Judge, I think, is going to eventually have to be a designated hitter, especially with the injuries he gets.
Yeah, I'm looking at I was interested because I was looking at the contract situation with Andujar, and like he's kind of a forgotten guy, Miguel Andujar, and the team. I mean, listen, it's nice to have injuries happen. It's nice to have that kind of backup talent, but if people stay healthy, where do you find the bats for, people like Talkman and people like Tyler Wade could probably find some basketball. Somebody who's a seasoned prospect like Miguel Andujar, where does he fit in? I mean, just sit there and hope somebody gets hurt, because I mean that's basically what you're hoping for.
Yeah, and I'm old enough to remember that they used to talk about late '70s Yankees, and even some Yankee teams in the '80s where the guys on the bench, could start for another team, but the guys on the bench on those Yankee teams weren't close talent-wise to the starters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of very similar players on the bench with the Yankees. I don't think there's that much of a difference. And I do believe they could start for other teams. I think LeMahieu's now he's got the contract. What happens with LeMahieu now? Does he still do what he's done the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, I give him credit for kind of shaking that. What's it called? The Coors Field thing. Like, he's proven that he can hit and hit for hit at a high level without being in Coors Field, which something that Arenado, and next year we'll see Trevor Story probably do the same thing. If they can do that. But I mean, does it make a difference that their manager is not with them right now, right? With the whole with his health issue, or does it matter who's doing that anyway, because the general manager is pulling all the strings anyway? I mean, does it even matter?
The general manager writes the lineup.
Yeah, no.
So it's the manager's just there in theory to argue with umpires. Someone's got to yell at Angel Hernandez. So.
What's the point? Like, I mean, like, are we going to see a team that just not have a manager? Are you required to have a manager?
I don't know. I mean, would you almost want to? Would you almost want to call him an offensive coordinator in the future? Are they really managers?
I mean, to me, like, you could probably save money if you downgrade what their position is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing with Belichick and the Patriots, right? Nobody could talk to Brian Flores because he wasn't the actual defensive coordinator, right? Like, if he doesn't ever call you the coordinator, you can't interview him. So, I just think I think that's kind of interesting to see what happens as far as that goes. But I mean, if you're gonna keep doing, if you're gonna run it like that, what's the point really of having somebody out there? You could probably FaceTime the umpire and argue balls and strikes if you argue a point, So as far as that goes, but the Yankees are probably the favorites over 92.
Yeah, I could see that.
They are the regular. I mean, like, this is a regular season champion right here, boy. Like, when are they gonna take that next step to go to the World Series? I mean, was it 2009? Yeah. 2009 was the last time.
2009.
They have a They have a very versatile bullpen. Do you believe in Corey Kluber? We spent a lot of time on that lineup, but do the Yankees have what it takes, in the pitching wise, to get it done? As well. Zach Britton's a setup guy. We know about Chapman, Chad Green, Darren O'Day, all those guys like that. Adam Warren is a guy who I like as well. But I mean, they have arms for days, and yet they still don't have the ability to. I mean, you might sit there and say, "Hey, they went against Houston, and Houston was it was a rigged situation with Houston with the Astros." You can make that excuse.
You still didn't score runs. You still didn't score runs. So
that's what I said.
And you really did shut that offense down.
Yeah, I mean, for all the notes, and all the banging and everything they got in that game, they still you didn't score. What they lose that game 2-1, 1-0. They didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, you got to score. You got to score.
I mean, the Yankee. I mean, you look at the Yankee pitching staff, and it's almost like they go from they have a number one, they have a solid number one, but he could be, he didn't really show flashes of what he had been in the past last year. But I think they have a number one starter followed by a number three starter. I don't think they have that solid numbers two starter.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how. I mean, how good is?
I mean, unless
Kluber?
Kluber, and that's the the key. I mean, basically hasn't pitched for 3 years fully.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe. Maybe Talon will come in from the three and survive and surprise some folks.
I mean, he didn't really pitch last year. He's been out for 2 years too.
So they're I mean, like they're trying to go to the bullpen after 4 or 5 innings anyway. So I mean, maybe that's the way that they do
it's
it.
the new style.
yeah, new style. Unless you get was it Burley from the Dodgers who just pitches like 8 scoreless. Like when you have the guys, I mean it's you do it out of necessity, I guess, but I don't know. I really I am it's the reason why I don't, and I totally disagree. I totally agree with you about Stanton, because I feel like Stanton could have went somewhere else, because it would have given the Yankees the flexibility to put Sanchez where he needs to go, and that is at DH. You got a defensive catcher. You're good to go there. You have to worry about it. I mean, there's some games where he's single-handedly in the playoffs, balls in the dirt, plays at the plate, just not getting it done. I mean,
yeah, and as the DH evolved over the years, he was hitting for the pitcher, but then it was almost the offset to bring in that better defensive player, so you could not suffer, but you could live with a light hitting shortstop, or a light hitting center fielder, just so you'd have that superior defense in center field, because you're making up with the offense with the DH. Mm-hmm. And I think we've kind of come away from that, where it's just everyone get up and swing for the fences.
Have they talked about was it 25% for major league games this year? They said was that what they agreed to? Or
it was 25%. It's 10% indoors right now. So the Rangers and Rangers and Islanders and Knicks are all at 10%. I think Brooklyn's at 10%. Jersey hasn't rolled out yet.
Okay. So
but yeah, I think baseball, they're saying 25%, just based on the timeline of opening day and when the vaccines are supposed to roll out.
And to get the vaccines coming out as fast as they can. I think that summertime could be at 50 maybe, as far as that goes. But as far as picking this division, I think I picked the Yankees again, because I think the Yankees will slug their way to division championship. I'd have to see the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have to show me a little bit that they can do it. The Rays are talk to Kevin Weiss of Locked On Rays. I mean, the Rays are a talented team. I'm not sure what level they can get to as far as this year. I mean,
they prove everyone wrong every year, and they just stick with this plan that.
And Wander Franco, Wander Franco, did you see that rookie, that 20-year-old rookie hitting bombs? And he looks like.
So it comes down to. And again, don't forget, last year was a 60-game season, so we don't know what the Rays would have done, at game 81.
Full season, exactly.
Full season, so they may have peaked just as the playoffs were starting. That could have been a hot streak that they would have had in June or July, as opposed to right before the World Series. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, you have to, on paper, give it to the Yankees, and you just want to see what's the difference makers for the Blue Jays. Can they take it to that next level?
We skipped the Orioles a little bit. I'm gonna until the Orioles. I mean, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on the Orioles. Unfortunately, sorry, Orioles fans. But
42 games.
Yeah,
that's it. Over under.
So they're in last. I mean, the Red Sox. The Red Sox are not gonna are not going to threaten last place, right? I mean, as
No,
long as the Orioles are
no,
there,
no,
right?
no, no. There's no way.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll just kind of see where you are at with there, but I do think the kind of a battle for second place, Rays and Jays. I think the Jays have to show me they can do it. I mean, show me they can do it. They have the young talent. It's time for that talent to stay healthy and get things rolling.
Yeah,
As far as that goes, I mean, I want to see it. I mean, everybody loves those Blue Jay jerseys. The Blue Jays and right behind me, the Expos jerseys are just beautiful. So we want to see the Expos are no more, but we definitely want to see um, what we can from the Blue Jays as far as making the playoffs. To shout out to Hugh, Ohio, San Diego, California, Black Heath, England, Campbell, California, Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Butte, Montana. Did you see what NFL player moved to Montana or bought a house in Montana?
I did, but I forget who it was. Was it?
Alvin Kamara.
Yes.
And then he tweeted out, "I moved to Montana, leave me alone." So maybe that's who's listening to the show out there in Montana. Do you know how one thing I'll say about the NBA is that the NBA is that TNT treats them like gold. Like they really treat them like gold. They do everything for the NBA, and part of the NBA's success has been TBS and TNT. MLB Network is, if you can, for some people, if they can find it, it's fine. Um, TBS does have MLB stuff on there. Is there a way that somehow someone they just need do they need a network like that to kind of help push the product to that level that TNT does with the NBA? Because the TNT does a great job with the NBA.
Yeah, they do. I think I just think they're spread so thin between Fox and TBS carrying the games. And
Yeah,
I think that's what hurts them. Where I mean, yeah, you have ESPN and TNT carrying the NBA, and ESPN has baseball also. So
yeah,
you don't have one channel that really needs to step out and take everything over.
yeah.
But yeah, ESPN has the weekly basketball broadcast on ABC, but that's really all you see with them. They focus so much on college basketball. That's their bread and butter for them. But yeah, it's you'd like to see Fox do it. I think one of the things is I think they have to get one of the networks out of there. I think that's the big thing for baseball is they
It's hard.
need one of those networks.
Yeah, it's hard to have it be ESPN though. ESPN is so big. It's hard. You ever I always look at
It can't be ESPN. ESPN is too focused on air talent and their apps now. It's the Mike Greenberg channel because he has like 17 shows throughout the day on ESPN.
Listen,
but
he did win the battle between him and Mike Golick though. It was Golick versus Greenberg, and Greenberg definitely won. He with TKO. Get up is not a bad show. I gotta admit,
it's not a bad show. But yeah, it's they need something. So whether they eliminate either TBS or Fox, I don't think Fox would invest. I think TBS would be the way to go. I do think they need a contract with one of the major networks.
Even for a World Series on TBS.
As Fox is
it's a national one, so it's tough.
Fox is our national. It's such a tough call with baseball. Yeah. They got to do something. It was interesting because I looked it up today, and again, it just comes down to the marketing of the sport. And I realized this is the first time that any current Major League Baseball player is getting a Funko Pop. You know what a Funko Pop is?
No.
It's those little guys with the big heads. Like it looks like a bobblehead, but it's not really a bobblehead.
Okay.
I sent you a picture of one. I have one of from the Sonics.
Sean Kemp?
I got a couple months ago. The Sean Kemp one. That's a Funko Pop.
Okay.
So and Major League Baseball is just rolling them out. So if you go to Amazon to buy one, It's like, you can buy it now, it's coming soon. But you search NBA and you search NHL. I mean, my friend has a whole wall of NHL Funko Pops, that her and her son collect. And the NBA has a lot. Football has a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just like Major League Baseball is just getting into the game. So, that's one of those things. And again, it just comes down to the marketing of the sport.
Yeah.
And then you have your best player in baseball surrounded by a 38-year-old right fielder and a 34-year-old left fielder. And he's probably not going to make the playoffs again.
Yeah. I mean, it's the one guy who you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss his at bats at all, and they can't get those bats in meaningful games down the stretch. So
no, because you go back to TNT, and I'm going to take it way back here, but you think about TNT when Kevin, what's his name? Why am I drawing blanks? Was a Timberwolf.
Kevin Harlan? Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
But Kevin Garnett was a Minnesota Timberwolves. You saw the Timberwolves at least once a week on TV. And the Timberwolves weren't a good game, but you were seeing one of the best players. Yeah. And we just don't get that.
Yeah, that's true.
Baseball.
That's true.
And he was profiled. He'd be profiled on these pregame shows.
And they touched the ball so many times, opposed to the forward bats and maybe the great play in the outfield, where he steals a home run or makes a diving catch. So, and you can't manufacture that. You can manufacture your touches. And if I'm a big Saints fan, I know Alvin Kamara is touching the ball 20 times. I know that. So I get it. I mean, they just have to. I mean, they got to figure that out. I mean, that old money is that old money, and it might not always be there. That might, like Drake from Outkast said, you can't count on that old money. It might not be sufficient.
No,
it might not be sufficient. Before we go into Wanda and come into America, did you have anything else about the American League East? I think we both feel like the Rays, Jays follow with the Yankees being number one.
Yeah, I'd probably go Jays, Rays. I would, I'm not shocked either way. And again, I'm not. I'd say mildly shocked if the Blue Jays win the division, but they would need to make that trade down the stretch to bring someone in to take it to the next level.
Okay. Why is America hating on coming to America? I don't understand this. Like, it's
no, because this is the same America that loved the Star Wars reboots up until the third one.
Yeah.
And Coming to America is a classic movie, is a classic comedy. It's peak Eddie Murphy. Look, I laughed out loud. I mean, watching the movie alone, laughed out loud at least 7 times. And I thought it was good. It's not like they made a remake, like a shot for shot remake or sequel. Like you see that sometimes where you do a sequel and it's almost like the exact same movie again.
And the main story I thought was really cool, that because that we all can kind of relate to. Oh, we're never going to be like our parents. We're never going to be like our parents. And here he is fighting, being just like his parents. As far as him with his daughter.
He became his dad, basically.
He became his dad. And I thought, go ahead.
I enjoyed it. I thought the soundtrack was good. I thought,
what was really funny?
What's that?
The Colin Yost from Saturday Night Live.
Yes. And again, they tied it into another great Eddie Murphy movie, Trading Places.
He had him. I mean, yeah.
Duke. That was his grandparents.
That was so good.
That was hilarious.
That was so good. Having the twins rap at the end, I didn't expect that.
Well, I crack up because everyone had been talking about Wanda needed the Luke Skywalker moment, like at The Mandalorian, and for me, that was the Luke Skywalker moment of coming to America, seeing the twins come back out and rap.
That was hilarious. I couldn't believe it.
How do you not laugh at that? The barbershop scene was good.
Dude, you got to think about it too. Like, I've been saying this for years, man. Like, and comedy doesn't get the credit it deserves for great acting. like think about that for a second, man. That like everybody in the room is Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy. Like I mean that's
Yeah,
and like when
except for
they're
one guy. The
except for
one
one
guy is
guy,
not.
and one guy
Yeah,
is not. Randomly, he's not. I forgot that dude. I don't think it's random, but
yeah.
I mean, they brought back the butler dude who sings like out of nowhere with a high pitched voice. Like they brought back the bathtub scenes. They brought back, I mean, everything was just
Yeah.
it
You have
moved.
Tracy Morgan, and Tracy
Tracy
Morgan is
Morgan is
Tracy
great.
Morgan.
Tracy Morgan, Leslie
Yeah.
from Saturday Night Live. She was in
Leslie
it. Leslie
Jones,
Jones was in it. I mean, it's just so. I thought the Trev
McDowell's.
McDowell was in it. He looks good for his age.
Yes, he does.
He does. He looks
He
really
does.
good.
Yeah.
And the Trevor Noah, the fake news. Do you remember the Trevor Noah scenes?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not a Trevor Noah fan, but yes, I do remember those scenes. But those were funny. They were. They were funny.
They were funny. They were funny. They were funny. They were funny. So and then I do think this whole like relationship between Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes is fantastic. Like they're in movies.
Wesley Snipes was amazing
Yeah, and like
in
just
this
like
movie.
exactly, and those two guys being together, and I think that I mean they were in Dolomite together as well, and Dolomite did get a nomination for Academy Award, did it not? I think they got a nomination for
I believe
film.
it did.
Yeah, I
I
think it
believe it
did. Yeah,
did.
it
Yeah.
did. Yeah. So like, they're coming really close. And they just I mean I kind of like when serious actors do comedy roles. I think it's kind of fun. I think it adds to the fun of it. His son is a guy who's been in like The Wire and been to like all these different shows, been in serious shows, and it was kind of like an ensemble. It was an ensemble cast, like I mean, an ensemble cast. You had En Vogue was in it. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, come on, En Vogue.
Yeah.
Like Fife. I used to have a crush from Dawn from En Vogue as well. I love it. I love
Salt
En
and
Vogue.
Pepper.
Salt and Pepper was in it.
Randy Watson.
Who like Salt and Pepper I think Salt and Pepper definitely said, hey, you know what, we're gonna be in this movie and we're gonna go to Billy Blank's. Because because both of them were in like great shape with that as well too. And then shout out to Lindor for wearing that jacket, wearing the Mets jacket, the Coming to America jacket. when we saw that as well. I thought it was a good mix of established, older, and then bringing in the new generation. I think his sister, I think the woman who played his daughter, she's beautiful and she has a chance to be a really good actress down the road.
And his youngest daughter in the movie is actually his youngest daughter.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's good. Oh, there
Yeah.
you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. So yeah,
I enjoyed it, and I think that's what I think we.
Why can't we have just fun? We can't have fun going. We can't have fun watching the movie now. We just can't.
I think we just have to. Sometimes people just get too critical about movies, and you can't. It's certain movies. It takes a lot for a sequel to be better than the original, and there's not many.
A lot of years in between. Yeah, a lot of years in between.
And yeah, it's 30 years in between. But I laughed. I enjoyed it, and that's what I was looking for. That's how I rate a movie, whether it entertains me or not.
That's all that matters.
That's one of those movies that entertains me.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I thoroughly enjoyed it. WandaVision, got a little bit of time left to talk about that. So my only thing is I love the show. I think the show is Emmy worthy. I think it's ridiculously creative. I think they sprinkled in enough to explain it without overdoing it as far as the comedy scenes and like the sitcoms and everything like that. I thought they did a great job. I think Phase 4 is going to be very interesting. They kind of set it up for a little bit. Only thing about it for me with witches, I'm not big on witches only because they end up doing this for the whole like movie, like with it, like all these little gestures, whatever. But I do feel like the story is cool. I thought it was like crazy badass when she walks out with the hoodie and just like and Monica says they'll never understand what you gave up for them, and and she was like, oh, they always hate me, whatever. I thought it was really interesting. The whole scene between the white Vision and the Vision that she created, which means that's how they brought back Vision, because Vision will be around. I think we'll see. I think we know that. I don't think Vision's going anywhere. But what are your thoughts about it? Even to the end where the scene where she's in like, a really secluded place in that cabin, she walks in, but then you see you kind of a faded
She's
image of
doing
her
she's doing
spells.
what Doctor Strange did to read his books.
Yeah.
Where he stepped out. Yeah, I liked it. I'm glad they didn't have the Luke Skywalker moment. They didn't bring anyone else in to, steal any scenes or, and don't forget,
Also,
this
so
was supposed to.
folks wanted like like one of the Avengers to come in like a random like Spider Man, Tom
Avenger,
Holland,
introduction of either the Fantastic
Eternals or
Four
something.
or yeah.
No, you don't need
I
that.
I liked it. I think it was great. I think each episode got better. Um, I'm happy with the ending. I think it's one of the few series that ended like there's not a lot of loose ends. There's no big questions left unanswered.
Yes, I
And
agree.
don't forget we were supposed to have Black Widow first, then the Winter Soldier and Falcon, and then WandaVision.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, everything's all mixed up, and they came with WandaVision now. Like WandaVision would have basically been at a point where WandaVision ended, and then Doctor Strange would have been in the movie theaters. I think like 6 weeks later, they were saying would have been the timeline. Now it's not coming out till November. But yeah, I thought there were some really sad scenes, some emotional scenes, some real funny scenes.
I mean, the scene when they're in the house
I'm
and the red wall is
yeah,
coming. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm still on the fence whether or not that is really Quicksilver from the MCU universe, because his man cave looked pretty much like the man cave that he had in the X-Men movie. It looked very similar, and that's the Ralph Boner joke is the kind of thing that Quicksilver joke would have made. So that's still there. Is he really just a person who lived there, or
Will
is
Patrick
he
Stewart come back
Quicksilver?
if they involve X-Men and
No,
Patrick Stewart? They're
no,
done.
I think Patrick Stewart's done. He said he was done after Logan.
Which
But yeah,
was
I
brilliant.
have
Logan was
I have
brilliant. I thought.
Logan's a brilliant movie.
Logan was
I
brilliant.
have zero complaints about WandaVision. I really don't. Like, I was the same way. Like the first two episodes, like what the hell is going on here? But I hung in, and then episode 3 just took off.
Yeah.
Monica Rambeau was wrapped up nicely. I like that post credit scene. The final post credit scene, is I know they called it a series finale, but are we getting another WandaVision series? After
After all
Doctor
this,
Strange, and what happens
yeah.
with Doctor Strange, and also Spider-Man, because it's all going to tie together. So
Yeah.
we shall see, and it's also a nice kickoff to what's going to happen on the space side of things. Because obviously that first post credit scene ties into Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah.
What's going to happen there, and then they had that interesting thing is that the events of this happened 6 months before the events of Spider-Man Far From Home. And at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, when Nick Fury is walking around the space station, he actually walks past the map of the Hex in Jersey. So that's why, he knew what was going on. And that's the whole basis of, he heard he heard you need to get off the ground. So I can't wait for what Marvel has.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, like I said, it's well done. Listen, maybe I'm not sure. I'm not sure what DC is gonna like, or HBO Max is gonna accidentally leak again. But as far as that goes, but I'm listen.
There's no comparison. I do. I'm actually excited to see the Justice League movie, because I think that Zack Snyder had the vision on
how to do
no
it.
pun intended, on how to do it. And this is his movie. This is the movie he set out to make. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I like comic book movies. I've seen all the DC movies. I can't say I'm a fan of really any of them.
The first Wonder Woman I did like a lot.
First Wonder Woman I liked.
But that's about it.
I thought Aquaman was overrated. You know, and you know what I liked? I liked Shazam. I thought Shazam was good.
That Shazam was really, I was surprised. Like Shazam was on the DC side, and then I was shocked how much I liked Doctor Strange. I didn't think I was gonna like Doctor Strange at all.
I had no.
I was like, this is.
I went Doctor Strange very like.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
and they killed it.
I've watched it like 7 times. Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
and they've really killed everything that they've done. I mean, they've had a couple misses movie wise, but you know, it's funny because like a couple of the movies that I didn't like, when I go back and watch them now, like you just see how much they tie into everything. You know, like Iron Man 3 really ties into, you know, Endgame. You know, Age of Ultron. You Age of Ultron, like that whole movie is the whole basis of everything that happened going forward in the MCU.
Yes, yeah. Somebody was asking me, hey, did you should I watch WandaVision? And I'm like, I was like, watch Age of Ultron first. Like, if you, it's the reason why when this episode ends, it takes you right to Age of Ultron. every time like,
well, I would if someone wants to get into the MCU, just, you know, from starters, I would say watch Age of Ultron, watch Infinity War, and then watch Endgame, and then go right into WandaVision, and that, if especially, you know, that's the clip note version of how to do it. You know, but if you want to mix other things in there, you know, you can tie the Thor movies in there and everything. But yeah, it was a good series, and we haven't had a series like this on TV in a long time.
So they said series finale. They didn't.
It was announced as series finale. It wasn't season finale. So that's, you know, that's, you know, but they also announced, you know, that it was a one and done series before it took off like this.
Yeah.
You know, and this isn't like Tiger King where there was nothing else to do on TV and you were locked in your house and everyone started watching it.
Yeah,
you know,
we were out a little bit for this one.
Or anything else, you know. So and like the weekly release, you know, I actually enjoyed the fact, just like I enjoyed the fact of the Chicago Bulls documentary was done weekly.
Yeah, like
I mean, it just gave you the week to watch it a couple of times. You know, I would sit and I would watch the Michael Jordan one, you know, that Sunday night, and then I would play it in the background one day while I was doing stuff, you know, and then I would watch it like right before we would do our podcast to refresh my memory, you know, and I've watched every episode of WandaVision at least 3 times.
And I do, me personally, I like the weekly, because I don't want, I mean, like, just like you said, I don't want to miss anything. I feel like you miss stuff, and we don't live in that binge world all the time. We don't have to binge everything. You know, and I think, you know what, for the kids, you know what, good for y'all. Like, I mean, yes, a little bit off my lawn and get off my lawn, old man, but like, hey, you know what? We had to wait. Y'all can wait. I'm a fan.
Hey, if we missed a TV show when we were kids, we had to wait till reruns.
I know.
To see the episode.
That was crazy. It was nuts.
So.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, I mean, to me, like, listen, great show, great job by Marvel and Disney. I mean, they really did a really good job. You know, a lot of great performances in it, and we should be real cool to kind of see that in the future. All right, James. Anything else in parting?
I'm good. You know, we're a year really since shutdown started, so hopefully things are looking up. I'm off the next 2 days. It's going to be close to 60 degrees here, so let's do this.
Yeah, it's going to be 60 degrees over there, raining over here. What's going on?
Yep.
All right.
About time.
All right. Take care, man.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Yep.